Right, so what is up guys, SDPZ here, and today we're going to be taking a first look at the PS5 launch. Obviously, if you did watch the live event on YouTube last night, you will have seen, and I'm sure you've probably seen the images on Twitter. I'm going to give him my first opinions. I did watch the whole event. Some of the games look absolutely sick. The Spider-Man Miles Morales game looked absolutely mental. That was the best one, I think, for me that I saw. To be fair, the Gran Turismo 7 looks really realistic and really good as well. But today we're going to be talking about the console and the features. So let's jump into that. Right, so here we have the release image of the console and the different items that come with the console. Of course, on the left-hand side, we have got the controller. For me, it looks a bit more maybe like an Xbox controller. It doesn't look maybe as more... Hang on, I'll go and grab a PlayStation one. It's not quite as like streamlined as a PlayStation controller, is it? It's more like maybe a blocky sort of Xbox controller. I feel like it looks more like this Xbox controller than it does the old PlayStation controller. It looks a lot more blocky. It might not be. It might be the same sort of shape as this, but to me, it looks more blocky, which for me is a plus because I prefer the Xbox controller massively to the PlayStation controller. For me, an Xbox controller just feels nicer in your hand. It's nice as a grip. And there's a lot of really cool things I like about the controller. They showed the sort of motion sensor system, so you'll feel everything the game feels through your headset. You'll feel it in your hand as well. Rather than it just rumbling and vibrating, there'll be sort of motion sense bits that will make it more realistic and more an immersive gaming experience, which I did like the look of. I liked the look of the adaptive triggers. So like on my Elite Xbox controller here, I've got this little green switch on the back here. If I flick that down, if I press the trigger halfway, on the likes of Call of Duty, that still shoots bullets. So I'm shooting quicker than my enemies can. Or obviously I can flick that off for racing games, so I can still get a full accelerate. You are going to get that as a standard with the PlayStation controller, and I do like that. That's a very, very good feature of this Xbox Elite controller. So I feel like that's a very good feature to include just automatically. So what we're going to do is talk about the console last. We'll go on through all the accessories. The standard headset is a lot better than the headset I think that PlayStation players have been used to as the standard headset in the past. It looks a lot sleeker, a lot nicer. I mean, the standard headset that normally comes with your console is never normally that good. It normally does the job, but it's not the best. Obviously, I use Astro A40s. So I mean, it looks pretty sick actually. I like it looks more futuristic than it has done in the past. I do like the design of it. Looks like it'd be quite a comfy headset, and I imagine the lower bracket would be adjust to your head size. So to me, it does actually look quite nice. I think the whole white product line looks a lot sleeker than maybe the black will. But that's just my personal opinion. I do prefer white accessories. Like I have white speakers. I have white headset amp, the white controller. I've got down here from the other day from IKEA, I've got some white potted little cactuses. Prefer little white accessories on my desk, but maybe that's just a personal preference thing. So let me know in the comments whether you prefer the black or the white versions of the console. Then of course we've got the media remote, which comes with all all consoles nowadays. So you can, if you are just planning on watching like your Netflix, your TV, your YouTube, or whatever else you plan on watching, Disney Plus maybe, you've just got the media remote. Rather than having to use a controller, the media remote is a lot easier to use. That's pretty standard. Nothing much different would be about that compared to the PS4 or the Xbox One one. That would be pretty much exactly the same, just with some new updated buttons and so on. That would be pretty similar. Same for the next one, we've got the charger controlling dock, which looks a lot more sleek than the current PlayStation one. I much prefer the Xbox controller dock. It's just a nicer looking product to the PS4 one. The PS4 one just looks really tacky and plasticky, whereas this looks like a premium product. Looks like it will look nice on your desk as well as also being functional by charging your controllers. And it looks like, I mean, it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty sexy. I like the idea of it. It's obviously got the dual controller charging. I wonder whether you'll get all these items if you buy the main bundle. I highly doubt it. I imagine everything to the right of the console will be an optional extra, but we'll see obviously on release. And then the final item we've got there is of course the camera. Or I believe, is it still a motion? I believe it's still a motion sensor as well, but it is a camera. I believe you, from what they said, you could use this as a webcam. I wouldn't advise it. I don't think it would be the best quality in the world. It's more motion sensor for the PlayStation Move, is it? I think they use, which is like the Kinect, obviously. It's more that kind of thing than it is a camera, but you could use it as a camera if you did want. So that is all the accessories out of the way. They all look pretty sleek and nice. I've got to say, I do like them. They look pretty sick. And then onto the console. Now, obviously, everybody has already seen all the roasts of it on Twitter for it looking like a Wi-Fi router, which, to be fair, it does. It's good banter. It's funny. But for me, I think this console is very, very good looking. I think it's a very sexy console. I think it looks sick. I really like the design. It looks really sleek, clean. I like the idea of the stand as well. I'm assuming obviously it comes with the stand by default, and I have seen the pictures that you can lay this thing down as well. You don't have to have it stood up, but I do actually have my Xbox stood up behind my monitor, so for me that's a plus. to be able to stand it up behind the monitor because I don't have the room to lay it down, so I have to stand mine up. So this for me is definitely a plus. And of course, as you can see, there is 2 consoles now. Obviously you've got the console which obviously has the disc drive and the console that doesn't have the disc drive. Now obviously the one without the disc drive is literally completely digital. You will only be able to download games from the store. Obviously you'll be able to download games from the store on the disc version, but you can also put the disc in if you are more preferring of having the physical product of having a disc. Nowadays I don't think most people are bothered. I think it's not too big of an issue nowadays. Most people do just buy a lot of games off the store anyway, so I feel like a lot of people will probably go for the digital version. It might actually be cheaper as well, because obviously the disc drive will cost more to install into the console itself. It might actually be a little bit cheaper, so I feel like people will favour towards that one. I like the idea of that, and I feel like that's probably the way the world is going now, with everything being digital and there not really being a need for the disc. It's kind of pointless when you can buy everything on the store. I do start to get it now. I was a fan of having a disc and having a physical product, but I mean, I think Call of Duty, and most games I play now, apart from FIFA and GTA, I don't have the disc for. So I sort of get the idea behind it, and I feel like it's a good step forward. I like the move, but I also like the idea that they've given you the chance to still use the disc drive if that's what you prefer. I like that they've not cut that away from you, and you don't have the choice anymore. I do like that. One other thing I sort of forgot to mention about the controller, and obviously it is charged by USB-C, which is a massive step forward, rather than just having the micro USB charger, which is very slow, very poor, and just not up to with today's market. The fact that it now charges with USB-C is fantastic. I really liked the look of that when I seen that. When they showed that on the trailer, I was like, yes, that is a massive, massive plus. And obviously there is a USB-C point on the console, as well as normal USB points to charge as well. But I thought that was a massive, massive plus. They really were behind. I don't like the idea of the Xbox is the same. The USB micro USB charger is just rubbish. It needs to be USB-C now just to keep up with the times. I really like that they've added that. It's just such a nicer product, and it will charge quicker and it'll be more responsive. So if you do play wired, or you do need to charge your controller, it will be a lot nicer to use. Overall, I think it looks sick. I'm a big fan. Personally, I'm probably still going to get the Xbox. That is mainly based on the idea of all my friends have Xbox, so if I bought PlayStation, I wouldn't have many people to play with. I know most games are cross-compatible nowadays, but for games that aren't, it would be a bit difficult. I wouldn't be able to play with my mates, which it sort of defeats the point of it. I'm excited for the Xbox release as well, but for me, this looks very good and very promising. Right guys, so that was the PS5, my first thoughts. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments what you think of the look of the console and all the things that they were showed. Like I say, I'm most excited for the look of the Miles Morales Spider-Man game and the GT7 Gran Turismo 7. They look pretty sick. A lot of other games on there look very cool as well, just not my style of game. But it looks very good. Let me know in the comments what you think, and obviously if you think it looks like a Wi-Fi router, I'm sure all the memes are going to be in the comments. Thank you for your good banter. it is funny. Also, thank you very much for currently, let me check, 851 subscribers. In the last week, I've gained like 250 subscribers, and it's like at nearly 400 for the month or something. It's just mental. I can't explain to you guys how much it means. It really is amazing that I sit here and entertain people. That's all I want to do. I just want to sit here and entertain people. I want this to be my job one day, to just sit and entertain people through the content I produce online. So hopefully you guys can help me achieve that sort of dream, or at least make it a sort of a bigger hobby than it is. So 1K in 2020, we've spoken about this plenty of times now. 1K 2020 is the goal, and we are more than on track to probably do it by the end of the month at this rate, which would be nutty. I wanted 500 subscribers by the end of lockdown, and it looks like we might be at 1,000 by the end of lockdown. So, I mean, if you guys can pull that off, that is genuinely the most insane thing. I can't even explain. Just thank you very much. Let me know your thoughts on the PS5. And also drop a like if you did find this informative or you did enjoy in any way. If this is your first time, please click that subscribe button and the bell notifications. We do upload every single day at 6 PM, and we are about 290 days into that now. We are really making steps on this YouTube. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for watching. And peace. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever when I can't hold you.